Time we've got a really cool show. We're going to talk about sun protection and either side of 50. My friend Michelle Probst, one of the prettiest ladies I've ever met in my life, and she's going to talk about ways to just harness your own beauty. I wore a shirt in honor of mine. Be imperfect. We celebrate that. Whatever you are, your imperfections make you you. And I'm going to say I love to have my glasses match my outfit. You know, I do. That's my thing. I had my perfect purple glasses that matched the purple. I mean, I had it all going and I broke them on the way in. This is what happens in life. We have things that we're just going along and everything's just perfect. And then something happens like, you know, life, menopause, weird stuff like that, or something happens and everything changes. How do we embrace that? Well, I've got the pro standing by. Michelle Probst is here. Hi, how are you?
Hey girl, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And I'm ready to be imperfect and embrace all that we are. And we're going to find out some tips to just take care of ourselves. And sun protection, I learned from you, is what we have to say now instead of sunblock.
Yeah, you can't block the sun. In fact, they had to take all of the verbiage off packaging about 4 or 5 years ago. But, you know, the thing is that, you know, as us young girls are moving into a different time frame, we are dehydrating. And so getting out in the sun only makes it worse. But back to your imperfections, I think that's what the beauty is about life, about women, about everything. And if we're just not so hard on ourselves, I know I battle with that, but you know, getting out in the sun, even if you're going, we were talking about gardening earlier, or you taking care of your animals. If you're out in the sun, you have to have protection, period.
You know, when we talk about it this time of year, there are all sorts of, you're out in the garden and you can stay out a lot longer than you plan on, especially if the temperatures are pleasant, like in the 70s, you can stay out a long time. And even if it's a little overcast, you can stay out even longer. But the sun is still there and it still causes some huge damage and some really scary damage to our health.
Well, and Devin, when it's cloudy is the worst because the UV rays, you aren't feeling them, but they're getting your skin for sure. But you know, these days there's so many options, like for what we were talking about before. I love to have a little color. So use the fake tans. L'Oreal has got a bunch of great products. There's a spray that I use just on your face, your arms, your legs, or they have wipes. There's just so many options to look like you have sun without damaging your skin. And I don't know if I've told you, but 1 of 40 women are getting melanoma, which is the cancer.
That's a lot. 1 in 40?
1 in 40 in the US. And, you know, we did so much damage. I remember we were talking about, we used to lay at the top of the sorority house with an album cover and tin foil. We had iodine and the baby oil, and we were frying our skin like bacon. And now 20 years later, 30 years later, it's showing up. So you do have to check with your dermatologist. That's number one. Maintenance, protection, and, you know, do check in with your doctors. Don't be afraid, because you've got to go there, you know. And it's so easy now, even with makeup. I love a BB cream. I was telling you about this before. This is another L'Oreal product, but this has got everything you need to cover your face, but it also gives you the SPF all in one. And I'm too lazy to do
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
I love it. I love it. So that's a L'Oreal product. I love L'Oreal. It's just,
Drugstore beauty.
mhm.
We're all about drugstore.
And if you don't follow Michelle, she is on Facebook under Worth Beauty, and you'll notice it because she's got her glam squad. That
Those are all women. I'm going to tell you, those are all women over 50. And I just want us to represent, because we're all living longer, we're taking better care of ourselves. And there's a little maintenance involved, but it is worth it because, why not look healthy the way you feel inside? How old do you
Mhm.
feel? In your 20s, 30s? Why don't we represent that externally as well?
That is so good. And it is so, so, so true. There are a lot of people who are asking questions. One
Okay.
actually came from Worth Beauty. Barbie Keene asked about sunscreen that won't burn your eyes. If you're out working out or you're outside in the garden, what is something that doesn't, when you sweat and goes down into your eyes, it's
Oh my
awful.
gosh. No. And that's such a good question. And what you need to do is check again. I told you I like the sprays the best, but there are a lot that say water resistant on the product, and look for that if you're going to be like just not laying out or whatever, just taking a walk. This really works. And also, do things that are simple as wear sunglasses that have UV ray blocking, wear a hat. There's so many other ways without having to actually put stuff on your skin. It's just
Mhm.
it's out there. It's easy. It's available.
I wear a hat, and we got a lot of folks who are checking in with us. Um, Let's see. Elizabeth says, I spend too much time in the sun. I look like a lobster very quickly. If I spend, yeah, I know. And we know if we are prone to sun damage. And I didn't spend as much time out in the sun growing up because I burned. So Andrew says hello and a good morning to Jane. And um, there's another product that you had that I had never heard of. And micellar water.
Yeah, this is a new trend in cleansing the face. So, when you do go outside and you might not want to necessarily take a shower, you can take off whether it's makeup, sunblock, sun protection, whatever it is. And it's oils in a water. It's so healthy. It's hydrating. It's under $15. There's several brands. Garnier has one. I'm using this particular Bioderma, but it just makes your skin feel good and it leaves you with a glow, especially at night before you go to bed, because that's when I get lazy. Is I don't want to take it
Yeah.
off. I just want to go to bed. But this is so easy to do. And you literally just take whatever kind of pat, whatever you want to do, and just kind of take it out. It will take mascara off. It'll take lipstick off. Under
Micellar
$15.
water. Micellar
Yep.
water. Because we always think we have this special makeup removers and really expensive, and we don't have to spend a lot of that. And I know I'm a L'Oreal girl. I mean, it's my favorite mascara. I tried all those expensive mascaras that are supposed to lengthen your lashes and all that stuff. I hated most of them and they burned my eyes and it was just terrible. And I just went back to my L'Oreal. It's the one I like.
I hope they're listening. Hello, L'Oreal. Um,
Right. Hashtag L'Oreal.
Hello. No, but there's so much available on the market. And these days you can just do Amazon. It's there at your step the next day. The other
Mhm.
thing that I wanted to talk about is hydration and also your hair. When you get out in the sun, and I don't know many women our age that aren't coloring their hair in some form or fashion. So that's already drying your hair out. So, there's some really good essential oils that after you've been in the
Mhm.
sun that you can just put on, like even at home, olive oil, coconut oil. These are things you have in the kitchen or in the pantry. Just take it and treat your hands, treat your décolleté, which is your neck. And
Mhm.
this area is so
Mhm.
sensitive, chest, to the sun, especially at our age, and even your scalp. Don't forget that. And I also love a vitamin C spray, which I just kind of spray it here, also on your hair if you're not wearing a hat in the sun. And then also go back to the basics. Vaseline. I mean, whether you're slapping it on your feet and putting socks on, your
Mhm.
hands are so important. Every part of you've got to hydrate. I always tell my clients, I'd rather you have a pimple than a wrinkle. Slather it on, girls, because dry skin is a real issue.
It truly is. And I'm so glad you brought up Vaseline or any kind of petroleum-based. Eucerin is another product that's a
I love
drugstore thing.
Eucerin.
It's wonderful. And Amazon now has their version of it that is their own, that's even a little bit cheaper. But petroleum-based products like that are better for scars than anything else. And I learned this because I went in with some little skin cancer. Even though I take care of myself, I don't go out in a rainstorm without SPF. I'm the whitest human on the planet. So I talked to, when I went in, and Dr. Lett in Mount Juliet and Lebanon, I did a lot of research. He is wonderful, and he is a plastic surgeon. I chose, because it was on my face, to go to a plastic surgeon rather than a dermatologist. We have great dermatologists, and so wherever you go, but I really loved someone who was really used to doing things. And he said, it's going to leave a little bit of a scar, but I'm telling you, I cannot even tell where it was. And the place that he found was like the top of a pin. It was the tiniest little speck. And I went for something else. And he says, well, I think these are just little things. This is what worries me.
Well, this is back to self-maintenance, checking with your doctor, because you would never have spotted that. And that could have turned into melanoma. And then they would have had to take a big old chunk out of your nose. You know what I mean? Like, plastic surgery is also important, because if you're getting something removed off your face, go to a plastic surgeon, because it's worth it. It's your face.
Yeah. And it's the same as going to a dermatologist in that they remove it. They do all the tests and all that other stuff. So make sure
check your back, check your back, places you don't normally see. Remember when you would lay out and just lay on your back? I mean, those are the areas moles will be popping up, and you really have to get those checked out. And they say if you see change in a mole, that's the most important thing to pay attention to, is if you see growth or change or height.
Oh, incredible. Thank you so much for your time with us today. Everybody go to Worth Beauty on Facebook and follow everything that Michelle does. And Instagram. Oh, that's Worth Beauty Company.
Yes.
Worth Beauty Co. Worth Beauty Company. So
thank you, girl.
Thank you. Bye.
Children that are in custody versus the homes that are able to take in those children?
Yes, so in the state of Tennessee, there are 7,600 children in custody. In Smith County specifically, there are 4 traditional foster homes, and 55 children in custody. What makes that very difficult is when there are only 4 homes in one county, those children have to actually leave everything they know, their schools, their friends, even family, to go to another county, because there's no homes in that specific county to be able to take them in.
So you guys have been blessed with 4 beautiful children. and you've been able to adopt all of them. How do these children in foster care become adoptable?
So reunification is always the goal. Children will become adoptable if the parents have had ample time to meet, I guess it's called goals, to meet those goals. And if the parents do not meet those goals, then the children will eventually become adoptable. It's got to be very hard on a biological parent too. In our case, their dad did release his rights to the children, which was probably the biggest gift and the most selfless thing that he could have done for his children. So we were very grateful for that, but they will become adoptable if the plan is not met.
And then what is your favorite thing about foster care?
So I'm very passionate about foster care. I really think everybody should just open their homes and take foster children. Here's what I know. I know that children need love, they need attention, they need family. And I know there was a couple weeks ago that we had been told that there were several children sleeping on the floor in the DCS office. And I can't imagine that happening to my children. And so my favorite thing is when those children go to homes and they get to feel what my biological children feel. They feel safe, they feel loved, they feel encouraged.
My favorite thing now is to and we're family. And, I was adopted. And so I've been able to turn around now at 43, 44 years old next week and be able to give back 4 times what someone did for me. And so not 1 ounce of my blood runs through their body, but they're raised, and they will be till they die.
I'm Anita Puckett.
And I'm Jimmy.
I remember one thing too. He was just like, I can't handle the heartstrings. Those parents that, like you get the child is in your home for a few months and the parents do their parenting plan, and then the kids go home for a couple months, and then mom messes up or the dad messes up and the child's brought back to your home. Jimmy's like, I can't handle that on my heartstrings. Like that was kind of his advocacy for not doing this.
So can you guys tell me a little bit about what changed your mind after those 7 years?
Wow.
What changed your mind?
A 10-month-old.
Yeah, I mean it.
That's it, a 10-month-old. So our foster son was actually with the Ray family, and this is in April. And so she walked through the foyer of our church, and I just happened to see her with the baby, and I said, "Who's that?" She goes, "It's a new foster child." I was like, "He's cute." Pretty much that was it. And then that was a Wednesday night. And then on Sunday, people were coming up and asking me if I'd seen little Jimmy. I'm like, little Jimmy? And they're like, yeah, the Ray's new foster baby. And I was just like, yeah, he's cute. And then the more we're hearing this word stirring of little Jimmy, they're not even calling the child by his name. They're just calling him little Jimmy. And they're asking little Jimmy, my Jimmy, like, hey, you saw this child the Ray's out? So that next Wednesday, so it's a week later, Jimmy walks into the nursery where this baby is in the floor.
And fell in love.
And that was it. And so the baby, at the time, wasn't even crawling. So Jimmy picks the baby up and just holds the baby. And they just had an amazing connection immediately. And so from then on, we were getting to a church early, and we were staying late so that we could go to the nursery and play with little Jimmy. And that's how this all started.
Hi, this is Melissa Hoisington, Regional Crisis Director from Volunteer Behavioral Health. Disasters can affect everything in your life, including your emotional health. Help is available during these uncertain times. The Tennessee Recovery Project is a free, supportive resource for adults and children who have experienced the effects of natural or human-caused disasters. Specialists are available for counseling by phone or in person. For free, confidential service, please call 833-954-2424. The hotline is open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Move forward with the help from the Tennessee Recovery Project.
We are the first family of country music. Now and forever.
Love is a burning thing.
I never wanted to just be a star.
Makes a fiery ring.
I want to create a dynasty.
Bound by wild desire.
And I
I
have.
fell into a ring of fire.
But the strength to do whatever it takes to protect the family, well, we have to work on that.
Oh, but the fire went wild.
Roman never forgets an enemy.
It is a sin.
Child, if there's a hell, I booked my ticket years ago.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Most people should tell the truth.
No grave can hold my body down.
But we are not most people.
When I hear that trumpet sound, I'm gonna rise right out of the
We're
ground.
the Romans.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
We come from such different worlds.
We're just like any other super famous, overprivileged, always in the public eye family.
You're very talented, but you're not her.
I will be. I'm not who you think I am.
You are exactly like I thought you'd be.
Your mama didn't become an icon by playing nice. Neither will you.
You stayed out of the spotlight because you thought you'd outshine me?
Well, there can only be one queen.
Bring it on, sister.
Meet me, mother and
This is about more
meet me down the river.
than contracts and cash.
There's something you're not telling me.
Ain't no grave.
You don't think I can continue her legacy? Just watch.
Your mama trained you well.
I am not a fool.
The new era begins now.
I've been preparing for this my entire life. You'll do anything to get what you want.
Never dull moment.
That trumpet sound, I'm gonna rise right out of the ground. Ain't no grave. Ain't no grave. Yeah, there ain't no grave can hold
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, baby.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
You've been the queen of country music for nearly 40 years. In all that time, any regrets?
No, ma'am, not a one.
Anyone can see that this pepper is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It's ripe and ready to be picked. Yet somehow, perfectly good peppers like this often don't get picked. Maybe they ripen too late, have a weird look or a strange curve, or maybe they're spicy when the market wants sweet. Whatever the reason, this perfectly good pepper could go to waste. What a shame, because inside each pepper is the power to grow the hope that grows families, that grows communities.
We know that once people try fresh fruits and vegetables through our Farms to Food Banks program, they reported being more likely to use the resources that they do have to buy fresh produce again.
And if one little pepper can help someone do all that, imagine what thousands of fruits and vegetables could do.
We have an opportunity to give. We have something that a lot of folks don't have, and that is the opportunity to give the vegetables that we can't sell.
You're taking what your customers produce, not letting that go to waste, and we're giving it to people who are extremely thankful and appreciative of it.
That's why Farm Credit Mid-America has been working with farmers and food shelves throughout the 4-state region to help build the Farms to Food Banks program, get nutritious food onto the plates of those in need, and secure the future of rural communities and agriculture.
Well, I have a lot of emotion and thought about being here at this event right now.
It was important for me to be here today because I serve as the Executive Director of the Tennessee Higher Education Initiative. We coordinate degree programs in Tennessee prisons, We provide advocacy, but we also provide pre-entry and re-entry support for our students. So when I think about the fact of the circle of support that we need to put around our students as they prepare for release and as they re-enter society, I knew there was no way that I would not be here today.
My name is Robert Sherrill. I'm the CEO of Imperial Cleaning Systems. I currently use my time now just helping those to re-enter successfully through my nonprofit program, the Dream Foundation. I mean, going through everything that I've been through as a returned citizen, I understand that it's important that we use our experiences. You know, we're stewards of our experiences. And so to be here, to be able to share my story and get people to really look at what real re-entry success looked like was momentous for me. And I just think it's important that we continuously hear from those that have been in prison who've re-entered successfully.
We opened up the Office of Reentry in the Office of Workforce Development, Labor and Workforce. We opened that office. That's what William does, because we know that it's not just about Department of Correction. It's about a connection between correction and reentry and workforce and jobs and support services around those individuals and the families of those individuals.
I think, Vince, like it's important because people need to take the time out and try to straighten their life up and get the resources they need to push them forward and have a better future. If you have a felony, I believe you should come up here and participate so you can have them resources to better your future. Because you want to be able to get houses in your name, get an education, and be able to get a job so you can take care of your family.
It was important for me to be here, more so my office, the criminal court clerk's office, to be here, so that we could help provide some of the real services that are needed for reentry into society, such as expungements and voter restoration and driver's license reinstatement. And the fact is that these are members of our community. They have paid their dues to society, and just like everyone else in this building today, we're here to make sure that they don't have to pay anymore.
Do you love bacon? I mean, do you really love bacon? Who doesn't, right? The 3rd annual Murfreesboro Bacon Fest is coming up Saturday, September 10th. Admission and parking are free. The Bacon Festival will feature live music, food, and craft vendors. And did I say bacon? You can ride a mechanical hog ride. Visit the Kids Zone with free inflatables. There will also be hourly raffles with great prizes and an opportunity to purchase Bacon Festival merchandise. And did I say bacon? Yeah. There will even be a bacon eating contest. Visit the 3rd annual Murfreesboro Bacon Festival Facebook page for all the details. It is coming up, and Makky Kaylor, my swanky South brother, is standing by. I'm so good. I'm so glad that you're here.
Good to see you. Me too.
You know, and I saw you. I mean, you might have been reacting to that Firefly song just a little bit yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, my motto is "Earth time is short." So that song sums it up pretty well. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, you literally skirted death twice, and I've asked you to tell this before, and we every Heart Month we talk about it, because taking care of our hearts is something just like taking care of our skin. Sometimes we overlook the thing that keeps us going.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. As you know, like it's actually been 20 years. 20 years ago, I know.
And you're just a baby. You were singing demos for me.
I was doing demos round the clock pretty much, and 10s and 2s and 6s, every day, and I was tired, but I didn't know. I just figured I was tired, but it finally got a little bit too much. So I went to the doctor, and they said, sure enough, your heart is 3 times enlarged, and the pumping capacity was about 20%. So they said, you're going to have open heart surgery. So I did. I had open heart surgery 20 years ago, and they replaced my aortic valve wasn't working, basically. So they replaced it. I've had a prosthetic one ever since, and hey, I'm ticking. As long as I'm ticking, I'm good. So I'm still ticking. I'm doing good. I'm doing fine. Well, as long as I keep an eye on it, because I've been on blood thinner that whole time for 20 years. And so about a year and a half ago, I wasn't keeping as close tabs on it as I probably should have. So my blood level got a little thin, and that's actually something that I like to sort of preach these days, is just make sure if you're on blood thinners and that sort of thing, just make sure that you're keeping close attention to that, because about a year and a half ago, it just, the levels got a little out of whack, and caused my prosthetic valve not to work so well, and so I actually had a couple of strokes, and was in ICU at St. Thomas, and so it was a close deal, but I am so incredibly thankful for every day. I mean, I know so many people have been devastated, and debilitated by strokes, and so I'm very, very thankful. And just like the song said there, I try to be to get the most out of life every day, and I think everybody should. We don't know, so.
Well, you also, I thought that was really poignant that you used music. Music really helped come back. Every stroke takes something that you have to work to come back. You can give up and say, okay, well, I've been devastated by a stroke, but you didn't do that.
Right. Right.
There were some frustrating times, though.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, for me, thankfully, Devin, it wasn't really a physical thing, and I'm so thankful. It's almost like muscle memory with the music for me. I mean, the day I got home from the hospital, I sat down at my keyboard and I could play and sing, and that was not a problem. The challenge for me was, and they called it speech therapy, but really it was more just cognitive therapy for me to. I mean, I don't mind telling you. I mean, I would, if somebody gave me a list of more than 2 things for weeks and weeks, I would get so frustrated. And I broke down and cried in the middle of Kroger one time because I had a list and I did not remember what the list was, where the stuff was. And thankfully, I live in my little town here in Columbia that I love so much, my mule town. And I knew the pharmacist, and I went to the pharmacist, and she just looked at me and she knew what had happened with me. And she said, let's go find what you need. So,
bless her.
And that's the beautiful thing about living in a small town, but it's also just, it's also a story of how, I was able to get through that though. And God has just blessed me. I'm just thankful for every day. I'm doing great. I'm 100%. I'm doing wonderful. So yeah.
I love it. Makky Kaylor, his voice has been, you've seen him on Larry's Country Diner. You've heard his voice on countless songs and jingles and everything. He's got that Memphis sound he brings in. But let's talk about your live performance, because if you have not heard Makky Kaylor in the Swanky South, you have missed a great night of music.
Yeah, well, I kind of going back to what you just said, through the years, just like yourself, I've gotten to work with all these incredible musicians through the years, and through the years, the ensemble of the Swanky South players has been, endless, of just these incredible Grammy-winning players and legendary players, really. So the group that I have now have assembled for actually it's a brand new recording project that we're about to wrap up, but also have a lot of live dates that are beginning to open up again, thankfully. And these guys, my piano players, you probably know these guys, but Dane Bryant plays piano. He was Olivia Newton-John's band leader for years, and yeah. So Mark Beckett, my drummer, is also, well, of course, he's the Opry drummer, but he and I are also co-producing my new project together, and we've definitely intentionally sort of drawn on his daddy's mojo, and we're kind of taking it back to Memphis and Muscle Shoals, which is feeling pretty good. So, for
those that don't know, Barry Beckett, one of the most incredible producers, and he's responsible for my first song recorded in this town. Barry Beckett, I will never forget him, and one of the first people I met when I moved here. He was producing Hank Jr., and a friend of mine was Hank Jr.'s road manager and brought me into the studio. I mean, I was green as a gourd. and took me into a Hank Jr. Recording session. And that's where I met Barry Beckett. Incredible gentleman, great guy. And I remember him telling, yes. And now his boys, Mark and Matthew, are just incredible musicians and producers.
Yes, yes. And, it's interesting, we are intentionally, like I said, doing the Southern soul thing, Southern R&B thing. And he just naturally knows, he knows what to do just because he grew up around it, and like you said, that legacy of the Muscle Shoals sound and all that. And I grew up listening, to, but kind of like yourself, when I met Barry, it was pretty cool because I'd grown up listening to Delbert, and the Clinton stuff out of Muscle Shoals. And of course, Barry produced that and all that great music out of there. And so when I got to meet
and
Barry,
played on it, yeah.
And so I was singing. And so I ended up singing a lot of demos at Barry's house. And Mark played, drums on them back then. So we've all these musicians, we've all known each other for many years, and still, let's make it fun. We've all gone through so much stuff through the years, with industry stuff. But hey, it's kind of like come full circle, and we're like, let's just have fun. Let's make this fun again, right? So.
Right. And so, who else is in the band? Who will be on stage this weekend?
So I'm playing the place where I play a lot in my town in Columbia is Puckett's, and so we're back at Puckett's this weekend. And then we're at Rory Feeks Homestead Hall in a couple of weeks, and that's all in Columbia. So I've got Dane Bryant on piano, Mark Beckett will be playing drums with me. I've got a couple of horn players. Scott Duquet plays with me a lot. He's great. He calls himself a bugler. I call him a trumpeter or whatever. But he's great. He played with Kenny Chesney, and he played with Delbert and did Skinner's last big tour or whatever. So he's a great trumpet player. There's a sax player that played for years with Kenny Loggins that just transplanted to Tennessee and lives pretty close here. And he's an amazing sax player.
Wow.
Named Steve Nieves. My bass player has been with me for 30 years. That's Don Johnson, DJ. Mm-hmm. And Robert Arthur's playing guitar with me. And we've been playing music together for 25, 30 years too. So since we were babies,
Since you were babies.
Yeah.
Well, this Memphis boy is going to be on stage. So Puckett's in Columbia in
This
Roy
Saturday
Feeks.
night. Yeah, this Saturday night we'll be there, and we're very fortunate. We usually sell that out, but I understand there's still some seats. So please come if you're around, and come see Columbia for if nothing else. Because it's booming and it's wonderful to see. I lived in Franklin for years, and it's very much got the same sort of vibe as when that was beginning to really flourish. So it's a beautiful thing, and a lot of creative professionals are moving here, which is awesome. I'm in a space where I am. If I could show you the whole thing here, but it's a studio and writing studio and office space here in Red King Productions, which is Rory Feeks. Stuff here, which is beautiful. It's got TV studios and just wonderful creative atmosphere. It feels like old Music Row, really. It's pretty cool.
It really is. Music Row has literally moved out, and Columbia is just a hotbed of great music. I was just talking to Bridget Tatum, and she is out that direction too. So, love it, love. I'm going to close the show with your music because I can't have you on and not play your music. But thank you for your time today.
Thank you. So good to see you, Devin.
Good to see you too. Makky Kaylor. Follow him on all the social media and make sure that you subscribe. If you are watching this on Facebook or YouTube, find Makky Kaylor either place and subscribe.
Please.
And hit that bell. Hit that bell so you know when he puts something new up.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you for your time, darling. We're going to close with what we always do. Be safe, be kind, and remember most of all that you are
nothing like the sunrise with your coffee in the morning, or taking a good book off the shelf. Another thing I love the most than being on my own is together with everybody else. Together like a silent Sunday summer, together on my